Hi, my name is Servicens and today I'm here to help you in how to change markup to margin and margin to markup, markdown and discount. So first of all, before we move on to the calculation, let's know the definition for markup, margin, markdown and discount. So markup is a percentage or fraction of profits calculated on cost price of product or service. So margin too is a percentage or fraction of profits calculated on selling price of a product or service. So you can see the two differences. Markup is calculated on cost price while margin is calculated on selling price. So let's see the definition for markdown. Markdown is a percentage reduction on the cost price of a product. So markdown is a percentage reduction on the cost price of a product. So when you say markdown, it's when a customer gives you what? A percentage reduction in the cost price of a product. So let's move on to the discount. Discount is an allowance or reduction made by a supplier to a buyer to encourage the prompt payment of invoices. So when you talk of discount, it's an allowance or reduction made by a supplier. So the suppliers are those who supply us goods. So they sometimes give us what? A percentage or reduction in what? The amount that we have to pay. So the main reason for what discount is what? To encourage the buyer to for what? A prompt what? Payment, for us to what? To make a payment early. So we are going to know how we can change margins to markup. So to change margin to markup, you have a formula like markup is equal to margin over open brackets 1 minus the margin. So this percentage is in markup, is in what? Margin. So we have come to change it to what? Markup. It's in margin, so we have come to change it to what? Markup. So let's start with the 20%. So as we all know, 20% can be expressed as 0.20. So that's how I change it to 0.20. So now we are going to get 0.20. When you subtract 0.20 from 1, you are going to get 0.80. So 0.20 divided by 0.80, that's how we're going to have 0.25. 0.25 is the same as 25% because it's in percentage. So we have to multiply it by 100 to get 25%. So 20% margin is what? 25% in what? Markup. So let's do the second one, which is 30%. So 30% can be expressed as 0.30 over 1 minus 0.20. Sorry, it's 0.3. 0.30 over, so when you subtract 0.3 from what? 1, you are going to get what? 0.7 what? 0.3 over 0.7, you are going to get what? 0.5 428%. So to change this one to percentage, you have to multiply it by what? 100, which will give you what? 42.86%. So 30% margin is what? 42.86% in what? Markup. So we are moving on to the 50%. So we are coming to change 50% margin to markup. So 50 can be expressed as what? 0.50 over 1 minus 0.50. So 0.50. So 0.50 minus 1, you are going to get say 0.50. When you divide 0.50 by 0.50, you are going to get 1. So 1. And it can also be expressed as what? 100%. Then let's move on to the last question, which is what? Expressing 35% margin to markup. So 35%. So 0.35 over 1 minus 0.35. 0.35. When you subtract 0.35 from 1 minus 0.35, I'm going to get 0.65. And your answer will be what? 54%. Now we are done doing changing margin to markup. So let's move on to changing markup to margin. And the formula for margin is what? Markup over, into brackets, 1 plus markup. So for the margin, it was minus margin. Now it's plus what? Markup. So we are using the same percentage to what? Margin. So let's see. So margin and we have been given 20, so 0.20 over 1 plus the markup is 0.20. So 1 plus 0.20 is what? 1.20. So 0.20 divided by 1.20 will give you what? 0.1667. So this is not in percentage. To change it into percentage, you have to what? Multiply it by what? 100 to get what? 16.67%. So now 20% what? Markup. When you change it to margin, you are going to get what? 16.67%. So now let's do for the 30. So 30. So 0.30 So 0.30. So 1 plus 0.30 is 1.30. So now you have to divide 1.30 by what? 0.30. So you are going to get 0.30. 307. So when we multiply by what? 100, we are going to get what? 23 is what? 23.07. Because it's 07, we can run it to what? 23.1. Let me write it here. 23.1%. So 30% markup, when you change it to margin, you are going to get what? 23.1%. So now let's do for the 50. So you are changing 50% to what? 50% markup to margin. So margin is equal to 0.50 over so 1 plus 0.50 is what? 1.50. So when you divide 1.50 by 50, that means you are going to get what? 33, 0.33, so or 33%.